We live in a world in motion. The continual push towards progress is the only constant in the lives of many people. Part of that progress is the critical examination of their own traditions, the ideas, and the values which bind us up together. It can feel like the very foundation of our civilization is under attack. So, what is the relevance of Western civilization today? In What is Western Civilization, Lawrence Birkin provides several notions of what Western civilization is, including geographic borders, both wide and narrow, as well as cultural ties going back to ancient Greece. Birkin is partially correct. Western civilization is a continuation of certain fundamental ideas and values that were begun there, but have grown and expanded in the time frame in between. The first one of these that I'm going to talk about is the concept of the primacy of the individual. Western civilization was the first to argue for the universal concept of the dignity of the human person, regardless of his or her accidents of birth. Bradley Birzer from the American Conservative Rights. The primacy of the individual is important because this is what leads us to freedom in general. There are two fundamental ideas going forward. The first is that it is the group that is important. This could be seen in Spock. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. However, Western civilization teaches that our individual person, our individual freedoms, are what help to make our civilization great. The second that I'm going to talk about is the law of the land. This was a concept put forth in England and written about extensively in Inventing Freedom, a book by Daniel Hannan. Okay? The law of the land is the idea that this specific country has a law that applies to absolutely everyone. The king, it applies to him. It applies to Parliament. It applies to blacksmiths. It applies to you and your neighbor. There is no greater force in the entirety of the land above the law. The next one is democracy. Kame Anthony Appiah mentions that democracy gets handed down from Athens, and there is no such thing as Western civilization. And to some extent, I can certainly see where he is coming from. Democracy was begun in Athens, and after it was invented there, it kind of got buried in the ash heap of history. However, it would be rediscovered, reinvented in Parliament with the Magna Carta, and then later on in the democratic values of the United States. The next thing that is critical to Western civilization is the idea of the open marketplace of ideas. This open discourse that we have when it comes to good things and bad things and the way that we want our society to move forward. All of this is only possible in a free society, which is based around those democratic Western values. Open discourse, even critical of the Western traditions, is only possible when it's held in those Western traditions. Autocratic rule and whatnot, it would be absolutely unacceptable. Furthermore, again, Chapter 2 in Inventing Freedom with Daniel Hannan, he discusses how the law grows and changes. It is the evolution of ideas, that these concepts are not merely stagnant, they are continuously growing. These concepts are propagated in the classical world and then experimented with in the Western world. And the Anglosphere are no longer strictly Western European or Anglo-Saxon. Japan and Brazil are both thriving democracies, and many other countries have made pushes towards these values and ideas. Several years ago, I myself stumbled into a Thai protest which was explicitly calling for democratic reforms to their monarchy. Western civilization is a set of ideas and values that were successfully exported to every corner of the globe and continue to be a guiding light to humanity. Thank you.